Hey, it's Phil from Contemplative Chaos.
And I'm Dominic.
And thanks for tuning into our channel about parent-child bonding through shared activities. Today we're continuing our Woodworking with Kids series, and it's happening about 3 weeks sooner than I thought. God had other plans as Liz gave birth to her 7th child, Ignatius Paulson. And this ties into woodworking because I've engraved all of our kids' names onto our kitchen table. And we have one more name to add now. Engraving your kids' names into the kitchen table is a fun and unique way to customize your kitchen table. What are you doing? I've done all the previous names, but now that we have Dominic, who's old enough, he'll be doing a majority of this. Okay, let's get started. Our family spends so much time at the kitchen table. We homeschool, so a lot of the kids' schoolwork is performed at this table. We eat all of our meals as a family at the kitchen table, which I guess makes us an artifact from bygone days. We play family games, do crafts and baking, the list goes on. All of those activities has shown its mark on this table with stains, discolorations, embedded glitter, Sharpie markings, and even a burn from a soldering iron. 4 births ago, I decided to customize the kitchen table by routing all of our names into the solid maple. I then filled in the depressions with colored epoxy. The table was a hand-me-down from my in-laws, and by itself has no special significance. The original stain color was too dark, and I am reminded of it every time I have to sand another leaf to the light maple below. First, an 80 grit sanding pad, followed by a 120, and finally a 220. So this was a good way to get Dom to participate too. It was fairly easy, if not mundane, work that Dom could be proud of taking part in. Something that will be around for a long time. After the old finish and stain was removed, it's time to route the names. Get creative. I wrote the letters in a 3-inch line spacing and sketched it in pencil before routing. We used our names, but I did another design with a Celtic cross with my parents' kitchen table. Anything is possible. I wanted to stick Lego figures by every person's name for a while, but Dom refused to part with the minifigs. With that being said, this isn't a river table. I think this is more customizable and way easier than a full-scale river table. If this is your first time routing by hand, you need a firm control of the router. The router bit will pull in one direction more than the other and can tear out small middle sections if on a weak-grained wood. It's also trickier making regular print letters look nice because of their straight lines, which is why I'm doing cursive, which makes the accidental movements of the router look more intentional. After routing, some light sanding is needed to remove fuzzing, followed up by a vacuum. And then comes the fun. I mix a 2-part bar top epoxy and add a unique mica powder pigment for every name. So I'm picking the red, the gold, and the yellow because his name is Ignatius and that means fire or fiery. So I think red, gold, and yellow are about the closest I have to like some kind of a fiery color. And then pour the epoxy into the letters. I'll leave a link in the description for epoxy and mica powder. Add epoxy until it overflows because the level will drop with time due to bubbles and a little being soaked up by the wood. You can also prevent the wood from soaking it up by spraying with polyurethane ahead of time. So the epoxy is pretty much cured, and Dominic, Dom.
What's up, dudes?
Dom, you can make it so you can see.
Sorry about that, folks.
Dominic will be routing the rest of the epoxy off. So we're just taking a straight cut router bit, skimming over the top, and I'll remove the excess epoxy. So Dom, safety glasses, hair protection.
Safety first, peoples.
Last is the final sanding, followed by several coats of polyurethane. Brush on, brush off. Paint on. You go both ways. There you go. Just like in Karate Kid. Hey, it's Phil from the future. I wanted to pass a little tip that I learned. So if you are doing a project that requires several coats of polyurethane, like what I'm doing right now, then you can cut off the brush so it fits into the can of polyurethane and then take it out later. That way it never dries and you never have to throw out more brushes. You don't have to clean them with mineral spirits. After doing this with Dom, I felt like an old man. It's the first time he's done it, but I essentially prepped the stuff and let him do the work. A part of me wanted to manhandle the entire project because I think he's goofing off, which he kinda was, but it came out fine. I'm not looking for perfection after all. My kids will abuse this. Some other things I thought about while doing this is refinishing the entire table, but I decided that would require outdoors for ventilation, and it's too cold for that right now. Also, maybe I'll just wait a few more years to put another name in that leaf. You never know. A lot of family and friends enjoy seeing the engraved names. It's a real conversation starter, but it has other benefits too. Some of my kids learn how to write their names in cursive just by looking at their spot on the table. It also prevents arguments about who will sit where at dinner. Their name is written in maple. It's me permanently writing my legacy, and for this last name, it's my son working on the project with me. This simple project barely counts as woodworking, but it kind of checks all the boxes. We did some sanding, some routing, epoxying, and finishing. You and your child can admire the finished product for years to come. It goes to show that you don't have to do precision joinery to have your centerpiece be a source of pride. Have a great day. Don't forget to click like and subscribe if you want to see this crazy kid more frequently.